am so excited about this video because I'm feeling really good today, and I have been feeling really good. I've been feeling so much more centered, and I'm getting clearer. And I want to share that energy with you, so hopefully that comes through the screen to you, and you can feel that whether you're watching the recording or you're watching live at some point. My heart is just so full, and it feels incredible, and I feel like I'm just now starting to gain a lot of new clarity and experience a lot of new things. And I talked about this a bit in my last video, where how I've been reading actually 2 books now by the author, I think it's Joe Vitale, who wrote the book Zero Limits. I will put that, I gotta write a note to myself. I'm gonna write that on paper, or not. Actually, I work better when I digital notes. It's funny how I switch between digital and actual like written things. So sometimes I'm reading books and taking notes, or like notating my favorite parts in the books. And sometimes I'm writing in a notebook. I like that sensation of writing and reading the actual paper. But I also love the efficiency, organization, and just the ability to like erase things and add things, change things to digital. So yeah, anyways, a little tangent. But so I'm reading these books, which I will put in the description of the video when I'm done recording. And the first one I read is called Zero Limits. I read that a few days ago. I've been reading machine lately. Lately, I've really tuned into the fact that I deeply, deeply love reading. And I have had this struggle in my mind of how I should be spending my time, which is a lot of what I'm going to talk about today. And I would really, really love some feedback. So hold on, let me take a note here. I think I've mentioned this before, how my ideal day would really, a large part of that would be spent reading. And I love reading nonfiction. I rarely read fiction, and I'm just not that drawn to it. I was going to read Ready Player One, and I also really want to read The Fountainhead. So there are some books that have messages in them that I think would be really helpful. I love The Alchemist, like books like that. I feel drawn to. But for the most part, I really love reading personal development and business books, psychology books, spirituality, all of that, because I really am on this mission to learn a lot about myself and get clear, and then spread that to other people, which is, again, a huge goal of mine with this video, is wanting to transmute some of the things that I'm feeling and experiencing to you. And I've just struggled, I guess, with wondering how I should spend my time. And I find that I am often in a place of so much joy and clarity when I'm reading. So I feel like I'd love to read several books a week. I know that it's possible to read a book a day. I don't know if I want to do that, but maybe a book maybe 2 or 3 books a week I think would work well for me. And then that's kind of been the pacing lately, which I love. And anyway, so I finished Zero Limits a couple days ago, and then I started reading his follow-up book, which I think is called Beyond Zero. It was written maybe like 5 years or so after Zero Limits was released, and the second book is even better than the first, in my opinion, because you kind of really need to read them in order. So I really encourage you to check them out. I will link to them on my Amazon using my affiliate link, and I also would encourage you to check out Overdrive, which allows you to read books for free or listen to audiobooks for free. That's how I consume most books, and that's how I'm able to, time-wise and financially, able to read as much as I do, because they're all free. So it's awesome, and I love supporting the library in that sense. I think libraries are amazing. So anyways, I have been reading those books, and they've brought me so much clarity, and as I was starting to say earlier, I feel like I'm just starting to skim the surface of that clarity, because it's brand new to me, and I'm practicing what is discussed in the book, which is Ho'oponopono, the ancient Hawaiian tradition, or as they're sharing it, it's more of a modern day version of this Hawaiian methodology of tuning into yourself and getting to zero, as they call it, cleaning yourself. And because I've been reading this and thinking about this so much over the past few days, I'm feeling more clear about what it is. And if you watch the video from a few days ago, I was kind of just starting to get into it. And the practice, from what I understand, the simplified version of it is repeating 4 phrases and saying those anytime that it's really important to say them, I think, throughout the day, but especially when you find yourself experiencing pain and any sort of memories that are causing you pain. And you can clean them or clear them, as is discussed in the book, through repeating these phrases over and over again. So I've really felt like it's been super powerful. I feel like just reading the books, I feel more at ease. I feel like I have some really great tools now to guide me. And that, combined with a lot of the things that I've been doing in my life, such as really getting into aromatherapy. So I've been applying or spraying or lighting, diffusing essential oils several times a day, all different types of essential oils. So right now I'm using one of my favorites, which is this crown chakra essential oil that I roll on to my wrists, and I put usually on my neck as well. I've been diffusing oils at least once a week. It's kind of my diffuser is like a beginner diffuser, I would call it. So it's a little annoying. It doesn't run for very long, and it doesn't always work great. So I'm trying to figure that out. Right now I have some sandalwood incense burning, which is one of my favorites smells recently. It has something else. I think it's sandalwood and like cedarwood or something. And then what else? Essential oils. I have stuff that I spray around. Oh yeah. I use, I can link to this stuff. I'll put that in my notes to put in the description field of all the aromatherapy if you're curious about it, because I have found it to be transformational for me. Just the smell of essential oils, and they all have different purposes behind them, and I just like when I smell them I feel more at ease. So I have one that's for purification. I have another one that's a little out of reach that I spray on my face, and it's just like so wonderful. And then I've been using my crystals more. So we just had the full moon the other night, and I like to bathe my crystals in the full moon, which is kind of clearing their energy and resetting them so they feel extra powerful right now. And my favorite one right now is this one. I don't even know what this is called, so I will look this up. But it is for clearing the throat chakra, which is supposed to help you learn how, or help open you up to speak your truth. And so this is a big thing that I'm working on, and really just getting in tune with my heart. So all of these practices, whether they're verbal things, they're prayers, they're getting in touch with divinity, and which is what's talked about in Zero Limits, and clearing old mental patterns and memories. And so that's very soothing, just reading that, taking it in, saying things out loud, having these kind of mantras, or getting yourself into meditation. Any of that feels amazing. That's how I started my day. And I just it's really hard to explain how I feel even better than I thought I was. Now that I'm discussing it, I'm really tuning into how I'm feeling today specifically. It's just incredible. Like, I'm blown away, and I feel like, I don't know if I said this in the other video, but I really feel like there's so many levels to our experience as humans that we just are unaware of, that most of us are living on the surface, and we're experiencing all this unnecessary pain. Or, I suppose, if you believe everything has a purpose, there's a reason to that purpose. So it's not to say it's unnecessary in the sense that it doesn't have a purpose. But I feel like a lot of the pain we experience in another way doesn't really need to be there. That's what I mean by it, is that we could clear that pain and experience more love and less fear in our lives. And that's a huge, huge mission of mine. So again, reading and saying things out loud has helped me. Meditating has helped me a lot. The aromatherapy, I feel very calm when I smell it. Aromatherapy really puts me at ease. I feel like my body relaxes a lot through aromatherapy. So it's super, super powerful. That's why I just love to have a scent going. Sometimes candles. I love the visual aspect of candles. I would say crystals for me are a lot about the visual experience, but also the textile. So this one I love. And crystals come in all different shapes and sizes. So this one just happens to look like this, and I received this as a gift. One of my favorite things to get is the Goddess Provisions box, which I'll link to that as well. I'm an affiliate of theirs, and I'm deeply in love with them. I usually do unboxings on the main Eco Vegan Gal channel or my Facebook page, just sharing the things that I'm getting each month. I think I'm getting my next one in like the next week or two, so it's very exciting. So I've collected all these wonderful crystals, and just looking at them, I have a little display of them right now after they did their full moon bath. And now I just need to find the right place to put them, like kind of looking into the feng shui of it. So I feel like this is all so soothing. And one thing that's talked about in the Zero Limits books is it's like some of these things, there's no evidence that they work. It's all about our personal, maybe there is some evidence actually, like aromatherapy I feel like is. But crystals, for example, some people just can't wrap their heads around, and they find them like, what's the point? But if it works for you, then it works, right? Even if it's a placebo effect, if something works, if something makes you feel good, then why does it matter if there's any evidence to it beyond yourself and your experience? And for me, crystals are just like, they bring me joy. Another thing visually that brings me joy is this new plant that I brought into my life. And I feel like this is like a pet almost. This is my beautiful orchid that I'm just so in love with. I wish that I had something to put, like, I almost wanted to bring out a stool or something to put it on in the video, because I just feel like it's so stunning. And I love this plant so much. There's something about this specific orchid that I feel so connected to. So I'm like really trying to nourish it. I have a history. I'm also afraid to say this out loud to this plant. Like, this might sound weird, but like I'm trying to talk to my plants more and really acknowledge them as living, which they are. And I have this history of getting orchids, and they don't live very long. So I'm really trying to find a way to keep this one around for as long as possible, because I just love that orchid. And I got that orchid at this great store that I've been going to a lot more recently called Grocery Outlet. I started going to Grocery Outlet years ago. They've sponsored me, and they've opened up new locations near me. So they carry orchids every now and then. I saw this orchid. I had to have it. It was a really good price. It was like $8. And now I just want to have orchids all over the place because of how much joy this plant has brought me. But again, I'm also trying to honor this specific plant because it's so beautiful to me. And so just having that visual of just beauty in your life, things that bring you joy when you look at them and you say, oh my gosh, like, I can't believe that this exists. Like, sometimes I'm looking at this crystal. This is one of my citrines, and citrine is really wonderful for abundance and decision making and clarity. And this is my favorite piece of citrine. I actually have citrine on my wrist here too. And this one though is my biggest piece, and I feel like it's most powerful. It's probably one of the pieces that has the most integrity, because a lot of the times I'm getting these stones either as gifts or like I purchased them someplace that might be kind of cheap, and I want to learn more about crystals. But I do believe, like, in sourcing, right, just like our food, if something's really cheap, there might be a reason to it, right? Or you have the opportunity to shift the energy. Like, my orchid was cheap. It was very inexpensive, but it's probably the most beautiful orchid I've ever owned. So the price point, maybe somebody else didn't value it as much as you're going to value it, right? But on the other side, like, I really valued this crystal because it was the more expensive one that I've ever purchased. And it came from a really, really great place. So anyways, I look at this and I just feel in complete awe of it. I just feel so much joy just looking at it. And so if that's the only purpose that visual things serve in your life, then that's an amazing purpose. I am also trying to do more visualizations and just have actual images of things that I'm working towards or want. and I'm trying to get more into my life. And I feel like there's a massive power in visualization. I've been doing that for years off and on. I think I started doing that about 10 years ago, actually. This year marks the 10-year mark for me and so much of my work. I started Eco Vegan Gal almost 10 years ago. It was in October 2008. I think I started tuning into things like manifestation and visualization about 10 years ago and really becoming more curious about that. And yeah, there's a lot of interesting things that have happened in the past 10 years. So this year is a very spiritual, important one for me. And the purpose of this video was not just, actually there's something else before I get into the purpose, is that I started going back to yoga a few nights ago. And I'm amazed at how much better I feel in just 2 days from that. I took a pause. I put my yoga membership on pause in March. And that was partially because I had done a 30-day yoga challenge in January that felt really intense. The way that I did that, I don't know if it was ideal for me. It was great because it showed my commitment. It was great because it showed me how strong I was. It was wonderful because I accomplished something that was very challenging. The downside was that I felt drained from it, and this is something that I'm learning about myself, is that, and this actually happened in April when I did the 30-day spring cleaning challenge, I felt very drained, and I'm now just starting to build up my energy. So I think it's so important for us to see patterns in our lives. And doing something for 30 days is a wonderful way to start a habit, but it's also not necessarily the best way. For me, I've often associated 30 days with habits, and I think they can be very helpful, but 30 days for me does not necessarily create a habit. So part of the reason I did the 30-day challenge in January with yoga was hoping that I would just be in the habit of going to yoga every day. And it kind of had the opposite effect, whereas when I finished those 30 days, I barely went to yoga in the month of February. I went probably less than 10 times. That's still great. I think working out 10 times a month is pretty solid, right? But compared to 30 times, 10 times felt like very, very little. And it was because I was tired from it and my body really hurt. I feel like it aggravated a lot of things in my hip and my knee. And so I was in some pain that I'm just now feeling like it's healing. So it took months. In January, I was like, I'm going to work through my hip pain and I'm going to get more flexible. And, I thought that I could push through that, but it just aggravated it too much. And that was a good lesson, right? I needed to realize that sometimes you can't force something to heal. You can only kind of take those steps slowly. I think I was trying to find a shortcut to that physical healing and some emotional healing, and it wasn't a shortcut. I've experienced this a lot in my life, and I feel like this is an important message to share because a lot of people go through this, is a lot of us are looking for shortcuts. We're looking for, what's the fastest way to accomplish something? I think about this a lot with my weight so much throughout my life. I've tried so many different ways of losing weight and getting into shape. I've battled with my body. And I just even saying that out loud, it's so sad. Battled with my body. I'm trying to develop a new relationship with my body that isn't a battle. But I've experienced it as a battle for a lot of my life. And battling to me, I don't even believe in. So why have I looked at it as a battle, as if my body and who I am are completely separate? We're together. Whether my soul and my heart are, I don't think that they're mutually exclusive, right? I think that our souls kind of maybe choose a body or something happens, right? I feel like that our souls are bigger than who we are physically. But it's so interesting that I have felt kind of at war, or I felt like my body and my soul haven't been fully connected. And I've wanted my body to be something that it's not. So I've tried so many things over the years, so many forms of exercise and diets and mindsets and on and on. And my body has never felt like it's what I want it to be. And it's funny verbalizing this, how you can have realizations just by saying things. I've tried to force my body to be something that either it's not, or maybe I'm learning that trying to force something isn't the best way to change. I'm also somebody on a soul level and a mental and emotional level. I don't like being forced to do anything. When I'm forced to do something, I generally feel repelled by it. I'm like, don't tell me what to do. I don't like to be controlled. Maybe that's because of having a controlling mother, or maybe some other karma or ancestral residue or whatever. But for me, that forcing element does not really work. But ironically, I've tried to force my body to be something that it's not. And I think part of that is based as training and programming. My mother, I think, wanted my body to be something that it's not. And I think maybe I was trying to please my mother to look a certain way that she wanted me to be, or I thought she wanted me to be. So that's a whole nother topic. But anyways, I took the pause after struggling in February to get back on track with yoga. I decided to take a pause in March, and March was a jam-packed month for me. I was traveling a lot, and I was tired. I had a lot going on, so I thought, okay, I'll put it on pause. And then I decided to keep it on pause in April and most of May because I currently don't have a car. And it was just felt like it was going to be an extra hurdle. I thought maybe I'd have a car by now, but I still don't have a car, and I'm working on getting that car. So that brings me to now. I thought a few days ago, I'm like, car or not, I'm ready to get back into yoga. My body does not feel good. I would like to have more movement, and I want to also get the more soulful benefits of yoga again. And just 2 classes. I did a class last night and the night before. I feel great. So that's a long-winded explanation as to why I feel so good. And that brings me to 22 minutes into this video, the other big purpose behind what I want to share with you. Before I get to that, one more thing is I just want to address Musty Fan, who said, I recently watched a video where a guy said that challenging himself to read a book a week really changed his life. Yes, a book a week feels like nothing to me. I thought you were going to say a book a day. I heard a guy, I was listening to a podcast, and this guy was talking about how his life changed by reading a book a day. And it took him like 8 hours. Some books can take 8 hours to read. I think on average, that might be about how long a book takes. Maybe it could take 4 hours, 6 hours. On my Kindle app, it tells me how many hours I have left per book. And I don't usually look at the very beginning, but sometimes I'll notice it as I'm reading through the book. And anyways, listening to an audiobook. I feel like a lot of audiobooks are minimum 4 hours long. So that's a lot of time if you're going to do it per day, but that's not a lot of time per week when you think about how much time we have just in one day, and then you multiply that by 7. Musty Fan also said, some of the stones I've connected with have been the ones I found while walking in nature. Yes, I have some of those too. It's funny, a lot of them, I'll bring over my little tray here. I don't value as, I have this one, which I think is kind of cool. I don't even remember where this came from. This might have been from the beach, but this one has a heart shape. On one side, it's very soft heart, like classic heart, and then the other side is kind of like this rough, lined version of a heart. And I kind of feel like that's really cool symbol. So, but I haven't given that one as much love as it deserves. And the rest of my crystals, they were drying on this little cloth here. They all have different purposes. I want to actually look up each of them and remember what each of them are for, because a lot of them I got through, like I said, the Goddess Provisions box, or some of them came in candles. I think this one was from a candle. There was a cool crystal shop. When you burn the candle down, there'd be a crystal inside. It's really interesting. So I love collecting them, but I have a lot to learn about crystals. All right, so finally to the purpose of this video, which for me I guess, obviously I really wanted to share a lot of those things, but there was something more, I don't know what the term is, linear or something, that I wanted to share. So I've really been trying to get clear on, I would like to create more structure with my work. And right now, I feel like I'm in this like very murky stage of my career, which is fine. I think a lot of people get themselves into that murkiness, and it's important not to judge it. I think, like I said, there's a purpose for most things in life, maybe for everything, and I'm not sure why I'm in this murkiness, right? But I yearn to be out of it because it feels uncomfortable. The murkiness feels uncomfortable to me because I've been having trouble making decisions and also conveying who I am. And one of the beautiful things about this specific channel, one of the things that I love most, is that I feel like it's okay for me to not know the answers. It's okay for me to be imperfect, and it's okay for you to as well. My goal with these videos is not just to get clarity for myself, but hopefully to offer you up some clarity. And often through doing these videos, I feel more clear and more confident, and I discover sides of myself I don't necessarily know. I think part of the reason is biologically we get a lot of joy by sharing. So that's why I love live videos, is because I get to share, and I feel those of you who are watching on the other end, whether you comment or not. Most of you don't comment. But just by watching, especially live, it's such a gift. So I want to honor you for the gift that you give me of watching live or recorded videos. And I love comments, but you don't have to comment for me to feel your energy. I do hope that you comment, because I do have some questions for you. And I may do this video again, because I feel like getting to this next stage of this video has taken a while, so it might be nice to kind of do it a second time and just start off the video by talking about this. So anyways, back to the murkiness. I think it's uncomfortable for me because I just feel unclear. I suppose that's it. And I feel like other people are unclear. I feel uncomfortable when people ask me things that I'm like, why don't they know the answer to that? Don't they know what I do? Don't they know who I am? Not from an ego point, I guess. I don't feel like that's coming from ego. I feel like it's more of, wow, I guess I have not been clear about who I am publicly and what I do. And it makes sense because I've tried a lot of different things over the years with Ego Vegan Gal. It's been one big experiment over the past 10 years, and that's okay. I'm glad that I gave myself the gift of experimenting, and I continue to do that. And I don't know if I will ever have things super structured. I yearn for that, though. I like structure. I feel comfort in structure. But I also simultaneously find comfort in lack of structure. So it's like two sides of me pulling, and I'm not sure, are they supposed to coexist, or is one more important than the other? I don't know. But anyways, this is what I would like to share with you today, and I really, really would love your feedback, whether you're watching live or you're watching the recording. You can send me a comment, you can send me an email, you can direct message me on Instagram, like however you prefer to communicate, privately or publicly. I have been going through every comment and reading everything. Oh, this feels so good to say. Because of my new assistant, Melissa, she's been helping me, and she's been reading comments and messages. We talk over, she helps me answer them, and we're doing it in the same room. So it's wonderful because Melissa's so much like me that I feel so comfortable with her helping me out with these things. And it's so great to be able to address every comment and read every comment, read every private message, get through emails. Oh, that's truly a godsend. And what I would like to verbalize here and put out into the universe is I really love a team. And I'm trying to figure out how that will come to be. But creating a team to help me accomplish these things, I think, is the next big stage for me. So I have this list in my notebook that I started working on, and I'm just going to talk through each of these different things that I'm planning on. And I would, like I said, love, love, love your feedback. So please take in this information and share with me what you think, because to me, feedback is very helpful because it's not just about me. It's about other people. And when I do anything, I'm hoping that you are getting as much out of it as I'm getting out of it. And it's tough as a content creator, especially the way that I've designed my career, or my career is kind of unfolded, is it's hard to get feedback, actually. It's hard in the sense that not a lot of people feel comfortable giving feedback or want to give feedback. And feedback really helps me shape things, but I've had to learn over the years to just kind of tune in and figure out the answers for myself. So, yeah, I guess most of you aren't going to say anything, and I would encourage you to, but I can't be attached to that because some of you just don't feel like commenting, and that's fine. But I want you to know that it does help me a lot. Okay, so the first thing on my list is podcasting, and I've talked about that a number of times. I am trying to find the natural unfolding of a podcast. And I feel very drawn to podcasting because I love podcasts. And I feel like podcasts are just such a great medium. You can listen to them while you're driving. You can listen to them while you're doing dishes or chores around the house. You can listen to them while you're exercising. You can listen to them while you're commuting. You know, maybe you're taking public transportation, you're biking, you know, whatever. And it's a medium that's very different than watching something, right? And I feel like this channel, the Uncensored channel, lends itself more to a podcast because generally I'm just sitting here in front of the camera, not showing too much visually. It's more just talking. So I like talking for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour. That comes very easy to me, and I feel like maybe it would be a better medium to do this through audio. And one thing that I've been working on is, I'm intending to do, is turning each of these long videos into an audio format so that you can choose to watch the YouTube video or listen to it, or maybe pick up or listen to something again. So that's something that I will likely put in Eco Vegan Pal. I'm going to talk more about that soon in this video, in this list I have that's coming up. So I'm going to actually write this down here because a lot of these realizations are coming to me. So yes, so I see it as probably two quote unquote podcasts. One will be the audio version of this channel, and one will be an official podcast that'll be public, and it'll be the Whitney Lauritsen podcast. I've tooled around with a few different names, but if you didn't know this yet, I'm planning on moving my brand from Eco Vegan Gal to Whitney Lauritsen. I actually have another brand called Creative Wealth, which I'll also talk about, and I have a new brand called Wellevator, and I've had a brand called Well Network. I've had so many brands, and they're wonderful. I think they all serve their purpose, but I want to merge them all together and put them under like an umbrella. So I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen with Eco Vegan Gal. I don't know if I'm going to change all my names, but my ideal is to just have it all one place, right? And I don't know also what will happen to my YouTube channels. Am I going to merge them all together, or are they going to stay separate? I would love your feedback on that because I'm really not sure at this moment what to do, or haven't found the answer within myself about what to do. I have what I call the main Eco Vegan Gal channel, which is the one that's been around since 2009, and that's been mostly a lifestyle channel with anything related to veganism and eco-friendly living, and it's dabbled in like spirituality and stuff like that. And that has the biggest audience, although they're not very engaged right now, so I feel like there needs to be a shift, or I would like there to be a shift. And then this channel is like my heart. I feel you are relatively more engaged, especially for the audience size, for the subscribers versus people that watch and comment and all of that. There's a deeper level here, and I feel so deep. People aren't going to watch a 60-minute video of me talking unless they're really connected to who I am and what I'm saying. And people like Musty Fan, who watches like every live video, and there's some of you that are like there all the time, and that's like amazing. That's so amazing. So I love this channel with Eco Vegan Uncensored, and I feel like this channel is just a lot more me. The Eco Vegan Gal channel it is me in a lot of ways, and I'm trying to be more authentic with it, because for many years I thought that I needed to be perfect in order to be received. And that's just not true. And I don't want to be, if people only accept me or some people only accept me when I'm perfect, when I have everything together, where you know, all those things that I've gone into my vision of perfection, that's not the type of person that I want to keep around. I want people that, like yourselves, who are okay when I just show up as I am in that moment. You know, the only thing I did before this video is change my shirt, because I was wearing a see-through white shirt that I slept in last night. But literally before I made this video, I made my bed, which I was going to do anyways, and I put on a shirt that, you know, was more appropriate for being on camera. But that's like literally the only change that I made. I think I brushed my hair, but I was going to brush it anyways. But I don't really do much to prepare for these videos. And that's a very freeing thing. So I would like to figure out that with my videos and how I'm going to evolve all of that. So there's still remains to be seen in terms of what I'm going to do with YouTube. I have the What a Vegan Eats channel, which hasn't been worked on in a while because I found it very overwhelming. But I loved the concept of that, and I feel like I missed out on the trend of food vlogs, daily food vlogs, all that stuff that I was doing, and it didn't resonate with me. Like I was saying earlier, doing daily work like that, I find very draining. So I yearn for a team. I've been wanting a team for a long time, and I'm just starting to build one finally with Melissa. I don't know if Melissa is a permanent part of my team, because she has some big career aspirations, but she's at the moment just such, like I said, a godsend. She is amazing, and she's given me so much confidence in working with other people, which I think is one of the biggest gifts that I could receive at the moment. So perhaps when I develop a bigger team and I have someone, for example, who would edit my videos, that's something that I've wanted for years and years. And I want to find the right person for that. So there's just so many factors I've felt that have gone into that. And Melissa just came organically into my life. And now I just would like to attract somebody else for the editing. And perhaps if I had that team around to help with my videos, that I would do more video content similar to what I was doing years ago. I'm not sure about that. So a lot remains to be seen in terms of YouTube, and if any of you have specific feedback. But to go back to the podcast, I want to have one podcast that encapsulates everything that I do. And that's a bit of a tricky thing, but I really would love it to be a podcast for people that align with me as who I am at the core, my purpose, my mission, and the things that I love. So I see this podcast as talking about every aspect of my life. So that's veganism, that's being eco-friendly, that's living a spiritual, holistic life, wellness, that's business and my passion for making money, and my passion for strategy and social media. That's my love for reviewing products and trying new foods and traveling and meeting new people and building community. I want to bring that all together And just like I was saying with bringing things together with Whitney Lauritsen, the brand, that's what that podcast would represent, is everything all at once. And so people can listen for whatever element of that they're interested in. And because I feel like they're all connected. For me, I've realized that one of my biggest motivators is to bring people more joy, to reduce suffering, to help them feel more fulfilled and grounded in their lives. That is at the center of everything that I do. And that's what that podcast and my brand transition is representing for me, is that it's all part of the same thing. The reason that I am passionate about veganism is ultimately about helping people, I guess, find themselves. For me, veganism was the path to finding myself. And I had no idea when I went vegan 15 years ago. I went vegetarian 15 years ago this month. I forget what the exact date was, but it might have been like May 30th or something. I have it written down somewhere. It was end of May 2003 is when I went vegetarian. And that was life-changing. And then a few months later, in fall 2003, I went vegan. And again, it was just like, had no idea. I thought it was just a simple lifestyle shift, but it's impacted my whole life. And I started Eco Vegan Gal in 2008 as a way to talk about all these things that I was learning, because I felt I was filling up with so much information. I was overflowing. I just wanted to share it. And then through doing that, I also got very passionate about social media and very passionate about money. And all of that ties into some of the core needs, right? Social media, to me, is an opportunity for us to connect. People use social media to connect with one another, to spread messages. And making money, to me, is that a lot of people suffer when it comes to money. And that's like such a deep thing for me, because I've had a lot of suffering around money and confusion about it. And I've worked for probably my whole life to really figure out money. I think many of us do, but for me, it just evolved into this desire to help other people. So that's why it's all interconnected, because it all comes down to suffering. I don't want the planet to suffer. I don't want animals to suffer. I don't want our bodies to suffer. I don't want our minds to suffer. And I don't want our souls to suffer. So that's what Whitney Lauritsen is all about, is reducing that suffering. And I think that that's going to be the big theme of the podcast. And now that I'm verbalizing it, I'm like, oh, that sounds so simple. Because it felt all separate for a while. It felt like, why would I talk about money and business and social media while also talking about veganism and being eco-friendly? I've viewed those as separate externally for so long. Internally, it makes sense, but I felt like I've always had to kind of separate myself with Eco Vegan Gal, the brand, and Creative Wealth, the brand, and a lot of the other projects I've worked on. But no, they are all together. They're all branches of the same tree. And so if I frame the podcast, I'm going to write this down as I'm having this realization, is I don't know if I want to use the term reduce suffering, though. Any of you have different ways of wording things? Because reduce suffering feels like such an intense word. And it feels to me like it's loaded and it's negative, it's low energy. I want to think about the opposite. So instead of reducing something, what can I increase? And I want so I'm going to write the word increase down. The opposite of suffering. What is the opposite of suffering for you? That's what I would love to hear. I've seen a lot of comments from Musty Fan. I know at least a few more people are watching. If any of you feel courageous enough to share, I would love your input on these things. You can write them in the comments, or you can private message them to me. You can email them to me, wherever your comfort level is. The opposite of suffering. I mean, the first word that comes to me is joy, but I feel like joy is a very, that feels too vague and overused. opposite of suffering. I mean, I'm striving for very clear words. So I feel like happiness is a word that gets thrown around a lot, but what does happiness even mean? I'm not sure what this word is yet, but I have a desire. I, of course, want people to feel happy and fulfilled and joyous, but there's another word that I feel like will kind of encapsulate those words together and very concisely. So we'll get to that. So before I get to the next phase, this video is going to be on the long side, so thanks for sticking it with me. Musty Fan said, I is very excited about the podcast, so I'm excited too. And then I'm going to add the comment in because I keep forgetting I have this awesome feature. Have you ever thought of streaming on Twitch? It's a format that's all about live streaming. I have an account. I have an Eco Vegan Gal handle for Twitch. I can't remember if I actually ever did a broadcast. I dated a guy that was really into Twitch for gaming, but I am not sure if I want to add that in yet. I'll consider it. At this time, though, I'm trying to simplify, so I'm going to put this on my list to look into. I don't know if it's a little too much. Actually, you know what? I'm going to look into something right now. So, I just get very excited about. See, this is like, what a gift it is to have live streaming, right? Like, thank you, Musty Fan. See, this is for those of you who don't comment often. I want you to know, like, this is a perfect example of I'm here to communicate with you and have a conversation. I personally don't find as much joy in making this a one-sided thing. So I really want to honor Musty Fan because I just had this kind of aha moment. And I would love that because each of you have so much to share with me. Each of you are a gift. So please comment. I will not highlight your comment if you don't want me to. And again, if you want to private message me, you absolutely can. But what I wanted to look at is I use this fantastic software. Ooh. Oh my gosh, I love this software. I'm so great. I love technology so much. So right now I'm looking to see if it has this feature, which is going to make sense in a second. Let me see here. How do I get to that? Oh, okay. This is what I wanted to see. So there's this great piece of software that I've been using for my creative wealth side of things, where I broadcast trainings and I do group coaching, and the software keeps getting better and better. It's actually more of a service, and they have a upgrade that I could do. It's an extra $40 a month, and I'm like, do I really want to spend an extra $40 a month? But I feel like if I used it often enough, it would be worth it. They have this feature that would allow me to broadcast to Facebook, YouTube simultaneously, which I have done, and it's awesome. And I think you can also stream to Twitch as well. So that's what I'm looking into. You can also stream to Periscope. And I feel like it also goes to Twitch. So I'm trying to find this out right now. I could do this later, but I'm really excited about the idea of this. I was hoping it would be a quick answer. All it says is like Facebook, Periscope, YouTube, and more. I think that Twitch counts as more. I'm going to research this more. But here's a solution. Is that I have done a lot of live videos to one platform at a time. And as I've been saying, like, maybe I should be merging more things together. because there's different audiences. Like my Facebook audience and YouTube have an overlap, but there are some people that are just on Facebook and don't want to go on YouTube for live videos. And I'm sure like Periscope, which is through Twitter, you know, why do they need to be separate? So why not? I'm getting like the yes. The more I tune into myself, I'm like, okay, it's easily worth $40 a month to do this. So that I could broadcast to all those platforms at once and just do one live video. That seems like, talk about simplifying. So if I could broadcast to Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and Twitch and do the exact same video to reach all the audiences at the same time, that just, why do I need to do 4 separate videos when I can just do one and have it appeal to everybody? So that brings me to my next question, which is the live show. What would this be each week? And will it be different from the podcast? Would the podcast just be the audio version of that live show? That's one possibility. That kind of seems like I'm just kind of meditating on that. I'm curious again. I would love to hear from you, and Musty fan, so grateful for you, but anyone else watching, I would really love to know. If I did one live show a week and it was broadcast to YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, and perhaps Twitch if it has that functionality, and took that live cast and created that as a podcast so that all the formats would be the same, is that something you would enjoy so that you would have the option of listening or watching? Or would you prefer that all the videos, so 4 live streams, all the same content per week, so 1 video per week, broadcast to 4 different platforms, plus a separate podcast? To me, the advantage of keeping them separately is that the live show, the video show, would be have a lot of, be more visual and more interaction, versus the podcast would just be focused on the audio side of it. I wonder if you were listening to that podcast, if it would feel frustrating, A, because the live video there's mistakes, B, because I'd be talking to other people throughout the broadcast that might, I don't know if that's something you would want to hear in an audio, and C, if I'm talking about anything visual, if you're listening to the podcast, would you feel frustrated that you weren't able to see it? Now, of course, you would have the option of going to watch the video, but I feel like, I don't know if that would work well. So, so Musty Fan just had the phrase, raise wellness. That's a beautiful, beautiful phrase. Raise wellness. That's beautiful. And I don't know if you know this, but my initials are W-E-L, Whitney Elsa Lauritsen, and that spells well. So I've been thinking of how I can play around with my initials. The word well has gone more and more into my brand, and so I was thinking of having my podcast have my initials W-E, so spelling wellness with 1 L instead of 2. And Yadi just got here, so Yadi thinks that the second option sounds less complicated. So what Yadi may be saying is that she would prefer if I had a weekly live video show plus a podcast, and they'd be separate. Now, complicated to me, having them all be the same thing does not seem complicated to me, because it in essence be easier. I just do one broadcast a week, and that would be both a live video and a podcast. But maybe complicated for you as the audience, as a listener, is that it's more like it'd be designed for each platform. So live video is obviously designed to be on video, and a podcast is designed to be audio. So I don't know if complicated is the right word for it, but I feel a little bit more drawn to that, doing it separately. So, and it doesn't seem like that much work. For me, obviously, I've been talking for almost an hour in this video. It's not a lot of work for me to create that. And my podcast, actually, I would love to talk about that more too, but first let me get to a few more comments. Kaya said, I much prefer live videos, the visual in their interaction option. Well, don't worry, Kaya, because the live videos are not going away. I'm just thinking of, would a podcast be the same audio as the live videos, or would it be two separate things? And so you can listen to both or one or the other. So I'm just trying, I'm trying to see what feels right to me in terms of what this podcast is going to be, because I'm very clear that I want to do a podcast. A podcast to me also might be more of like a summary or a lesson or something. So as I was saying, the podcast I see as this reducing suffering, or as Musty Fan said, raising wellness. The podcast to me is touching upon different elements of passions and things that I want to share. So eco-friendly living, veganism, wellness, and the business/financial side of things. But I feel like the live video show can be the same. So that's the next question, is what happens in the video show? I have more of that clarity for structure makes sense for me for the podcast, but in terms of the video show, I feel like my video shows have been a little all over the place. I've experimented a bit. I really, really love reviewing products, and I could do that in the podcast. I've thought about that too. Yeah, this is the thing that I'm just not sure in this moment. I'm not clear on in this moment. What I was going to say is I love reviewing products, and I would like to have a sponsor or sponsors for the podcast. And so I've been trying to think of like the best way to integrate sponsors, and probably a sponsor for the video show and all of that, streamlining how each of those would work. Oh, so much to think about. I'm going to write this. Part of my questions is, I think that I want sponsors. I get approached so much. So many brands want to sponsor me, and I've been trying to feel out like what is the most authentic, organic way to integrate a sponsor. And I've played around with a lot of sponsorships over the years. Sponsorships are great because it reduces a bit of the financial burden. It offsets costs. So I was talking about how to do a multi-stream broadcast through video would be an extra $40. It'd actually be $90 a month. Currently, I'm paying $50 a month for the service that I've been using for my creative wealth business. And if I wanted to use that for multi-stream broadcasts, it would be an additional $40, making it $90 a month. It's really not that much money, but you know, it adds up. And so sponsors, ad revenue, all of that really helps offset the cost. However, there is the sponsorship approach of sponsoring myself. So I have programs and products and such that I can promote instead of other companies. So I got to kind of figure out how I want to do this. Find some clarity. Because I actually really love working with brands. And that's part of the clarity that I haven't had lately is how my relationships are with brands. So, Kaya said, I just joined the last 5 minutes. If you did one live video a week, would it still be uncensored? Were you much less formal and very open with your feelings? I would probably be doing 2 videos a week, one uncensored and one for everywhere else. So the live broadcasts that I've been talking about are for the main Eco Vegan Gal channel, the Eco Vegan Gal Facebook page, that would probably be the Eco Vegan Gal Facebook page, Twitter, and maybe Twitch. So that would be separate. And that brings me to my next part. I want to talk about the newsletter, but I'm going to skip over that for a second. So the other thing is, for those of you that don't know, I have an online platform called Eco Vegan Pal. And Eco Vegan Pal was designed as an online community for people to connect with other like-minded eco-vegans and wellness advocates, and also to connect with me on a deeper level. And I started Eco Vegan Pal, I think in 2015 or 16. It's not where I want it to be yet. It's a monthly fee, so right now it's $9 a month, or you could join for, I think it's $90 a year, so that would give you 2 months for free. And I've dabbled in a lot of features. It's been really hard for me to get people to be active, and I don't really know what people want. It's so hard to get people to share what they want. So thank you to Yachty, to Kaya, to Musty Fan, who have been sharing their thoughts and feelings on things. Eco Vegan Pal, maybe it's just that I'm not clear what it is yet, for me to take responsibility on what do I really want it to be. So, some of the things that I've been toying around with is I do have the Vegan Pal show on Facebook. I started that last fall. For me, the Vegan Pal show on Facebook was, I got the opportunity to join Facebook Watch. I don't even know if at this time what's going on with Facebook Watch, but at the time that I joined, I was one of maybe a few hundred people that was allowed to create a show on there. I was invited to create a show, and I don't know if it's open to the public yet, but last I checked, it was not. And I actually have a special Facebook sweater because of joining Facebook Watch. Here's the Facebook Watch logo. So, covered in dog hair. I have an amazing relationship with Facebook. I know people that work there, and I'm so grateful. I have a deep love and connection with Facebook. Not everybody does, and Facebook as a company is not perfect. Neither is Apple, and I love Apple. Neither is Tesla. All these companies that I love, they're not perfect. They're all corporations. They have the corporate side to them, but I was invited to be start a show on Facebook. I decided to create the Vegan Pal show. I think I did 6 or 8 episodes. I got overwhelmed because they took a lot of work. I was trying to make them very simple, but it just took a lot of work, and the work that I put into it didn't really feel like it paid off in the ways that I was hoping for. Now, I might not have done it long enough to really figure out what worked and what didn't. I talked to a lot of people. I'm still feeling that out, so I put it on pause in October, and I really would like to find a way to restart it. And something I've been thinking about is turning it into a live show, because I obviously really like doing live shows, and finding a new format for helping people. I had a whole new audience with the Vegan Pal show on Facebook. My goal also was for that to be connected to Eco Vegan Pal. So the Vegan Pal show was a way to introduce people to Eco Vegan Pal in a deeper way, which I haven't succeeded with yet. So Eco Vegan Pal, if I restart the Facebook show, that'll be an element. I am working on a new version of the book club, which was something that I've dabbled in for years. I had a lot of success with the Eco Vegan Gal book club I started back in 2012, and that went on for several years and felt really good, but then it kind of dropped off, and then I tried to restart it again through Eco Vegan Pal, and it's been really hard for me to get that back up and running. So now I have somebody that's going to help me with it, so kind of like a partner with the book club, and we've got a lot of things that we're working on right now, so we'll see what happens with that. I'm also thinking of building this channel into Eco Vegan Pal. So my goal, really, Eco Vegan Pal started with this desire to connect with people on a deeper level. It was a desire to share myself in a deeper way, to really create bonds and friendships. And I've thought about, for this channel, of taking it into Eco Vegan Pal, meaning that each of you would need to be members of Eco Vegan Pal. And the reason for that is because it's, I'm still dabbling with, honestly, I'm hesitating because I'm not sure about that yet. But I do really, really value my time and the things that I share with you. I am just, it's interesting having done Eco Vegan Gal as a brand for almost 10 years. And this channel is about 6 years old. It'll be 6 years old like next month or in a couple months. I started this channel in 2012. And I had no idea what I was going to do here, but I knew that I wanted to share out my heart and be more open and honest. And I don't really promote this channel. People just kind of find it. And I really just want to create a deeper sense of community. So part of me really wanted to shift this from a public channel to a private channel within Eco Vegan Pal and having it a members only channel, mainly because I want people to be invested. So financially invested, but also invested in a deeper way. Oftentimes when we are financially invested, we're more committed. And it's hard for me, and I don't know if this is just an ego thing. I still would like to explore this more, but it has been a challenge for me broadcasting and not connecting with people on a deeper level. Like right now it shows, and sometimes these numbers aren't accurate, but right now it shows that there are 6 people watching live. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But according to the software, 6 of you are watching live. And 3 of you have left comments. And I don't know who's here right now. I don't know if Kaya is still here, or Yadi's still here, or Musty Fan is still here, right? I assume they probably are. Green Dragon is here. Great. So now there are 7 people. Maybe Green Dragon is the 7th, right? But there are approximately anywhere from 6 to maybe 3 or 4 of you that are here watching and not saying anything. I don't know who you are. I don't know, right? So it's a little weird sometimes to share my life in such a personal way without knowing who's watching. There's a level of voyeurism. There's a level of, I guess it's like a safety thing. And I think when it comes down to community was meant to be more interactive. And we're in this time right now with social media and video content where it's very one-sided, and I am very drawn to community. So Eco Vegan Pal will also have more live events, but I also want to make my live videos more intimate. So that's why I've been considering making this channel something private, a members only channel. I don't know if that's going to be the case. I know that money brings up a lot of fear for people. So some people are like, I'm not going to pay for that. But really, I don't view $9 as a huge commitment a month. It can be even less if you sign up for the yearly membership. And it shows just a deeper level of commitment. That's really what it's all about. Plus that $9 will give you some of these other things. So again, I'm just thinking about it. I don't know for sure, but it's a way for you to support me with keeping all of this going, and it's a way for you to be more deeper and invested, right? It's more a way for me to get to know you better, and it's just that intimacy. So for Eco Vegan Pal, the membership, right, is including access to a book club, which I'm putting a lot of work into right now, and it's going to cost some money. The live events. So I want to do in-person events, and right now I'm thinking of different ways to do that, where some of these live events I will run and I will host them in person and be for members only live events. But I also am working on having people around the world run Eco Vegan Pal events for me, since logistically it would be challenging for me to get around the world frequently enough. but instead maybe having monthly live events that are facilitated by other members of Eco Vegan Pal. And I think that's definitely worth paying $9 a month for. The book club is worth paying $9 a month for. This channel, if that transitions into a membership-only thing, might be worth that. So other things like challenges. So I did the spring cleaning challenge in April, and I'm going to put all that content into Eco Vegan Pal, and it'll be for members only. Discounts, so offering discounts on my favorite products, which is something I'm working on. Care packages, so having discounts or members only care packages is something that I've done a bit. A private Facebook group, and also audio recordings like I talked about. So it's possible I may keep the uncensored channel public, but make the audio recordings I've been talking a lot about private, because audio recordings need to be hosted somewhere. So they need to be stored in some sort of cloud storage, which costs money every month. And it also takes time to create them. So that might be the answers. Maybe the uncensored channel is public, but if you want the audio podcast version of it, you have to be a member of Eco Vegan Pal. That to me sounds perhaps better, because not everybody wants to pay for something, and that's okay. Like, that's one of the beauties of YouTube, is that it's free. And you know, my vision is not to charge people for things just to charge for it. My vision is to charge people so I can give them more value. So that maybe sounds, now that I've talked it through, I think that sounds better to me, because I don't, you know, I know what it's like to want something but at the time not feel comfortable paying for it. I'm like that very often. I try to find free way, you know, like reading books right now. I found Overdrive, which allows me to read books for free. And, you know, watching television, like getting discounts, sharing your Netflix account, or sharing your, you know, there's so many ways to share things so that you can, because there's so many things to pay for. We have bills and rent and food and so many things, right? So my goal is not to have any of you pay for something that you're uncomfortable paying for. But my goal is simultaneously to get you to value things. And a lot of us get into this culture of so much free content that we don't value. And my time is valuable. Your time is valuable. When you pay for something, you tend to value it more. Not always the case, but it's very often the case. So that's why I've toyed around with the idea. But I think right now I feel more comfortable making the audio something that you pay for. So I'm going to make a note of that. This is why I talk through things. And again, I'd love feedback. So the other thing, I have a bunch more things I want to talk through, but I just got like that stomach pain of hunger. I haven't eaten yet today, and I don't even know what time it is. I'm trying to look at the clock less and just kind of let myself do things when I want. Like today's one of those days, the only thing I have on my schedule is yoga tonight. So everything else in my day is just whenever it happens. I love that feeling. The newsletter. So I'm working on the newsletter that I think I've really struggled with my newsletter for years. I've put out newsletters here and there, and it's just kind of felt very daunting to me. Now that I have my assistant Melissa, I feel like it's going to be easier doing it with her. I think that the newsletter will basically be a very similar version of the podcast and video show. So I believe that it'll kind of just be the written summary. So there'll basically be 3 different ways to get content from me, is to watch a video live or recorded, to listen to a podcast, to get the newsletter. And I think that that's what the newsletter is going to be, is basically a written version of each of those. So I feel pretty clear about that. It's kind of like a written summary. I want to find a balance between it feeling like I don't want it to feel like this kind of sterile newsletter type things. Like, I do like summary newsletters. I tend to read those more than like the more feeling like their journal or an essay or blog post. I'd be curious to hear from you if you read newsletters, and if so, which format do you prefer? I might need to kind of dabble in it. And a couple questions just came up. So Yadi asked, in terms of Eco Vegan Pal, paying for the audio sounds like a good idea. Will it be done as a package? Yes. So Eco Vegan Pal will be a all-inclusive membership. It is already. It already exists, but I'm adding more features and making it more clear. So the Eco Vegan Pal already has a ton of things. Right now, it's kind of just the community, and it's not very active. I need to work on getting people to be. I'm going to write this down too. I need to find some more ways to get people to converse more. So we'll see how that's going to work. But Eco Vegan Pal will include the book club, access to live events, challenges like the. I'm going to address Kaya's question in a minute about my my tidying challenge. So I had a bunch of like series. So it'll be like challenges and series that I've done. So you'll get access to them, and like all their PDFs and all of the things that I do will be in there. Discounts, freebies. So you also get like one of my ebooks for free. So it's just, to answer your question, Yadi, it's a big package of things. So you pay $9 a month and you get access to like all of these things that I do, which I think is a steal. The number 9 is a powerful number for me. I love that number, and it's also under 10. So spending under $10 a month to get access to all these different offerings that allow you to receive things from me, but also to connect with the community. And Kaya also asked, did you finish your tidying and giving away or selling things? I have not finished it yet, so thank you for asking. In April of this year, I did a month-long challenge of challenging myself to tidy. I'm not done with it yet. So right now, the main thing I need to finish is I need to right now where I'm stuck is the getting rid of things. Now, I'm very excited to say I'm going to a clothing swap this weekend, thank goodness, where I'm getting rid of literally a bag full of these things. I went to a few stores and tried to sell clothing that they did not want, so I'm going to send it to probably ThreadUp. So you can send like a big bag of clothing to them, and they can just either they sell things for you or they donate it to charity for you. And then I'm probably going to sell some things on Poshmark. In fact, on my bed right now are the things that I'm going to sell. So I have things that I'm going to list on probably Craigslist, maybe eBay, maybe Facebook. And then I have a bag full of clothing I want to sell on Poshmark. And I will be posting links to all of those things in case any of you would like to buy it. And if you buy any of those things and you spend a minimum of like $15 or something, you will also get a care package from me. So I'm going to package that all together. So that's coming soon. I just, like I was saying earlier, I know that you just joined, so I talked about this earlier in the video. I found that doing things for 30 days straight is really exhausting for me. And the tidying challenge was just really tiring. So I'm working on getting back the energy required to restart my part of the challenge in terms of the public side of it, like writing the newsletters and making the videos and all of that. It kind of just dropped off and went on pause. So to answer your question, I'm not done tidying. I still have more to do, and it's taking me longer than I expected. Okay. I think I'm going to pause there because I talked through a lot of things. I've been talking for like an hour and 20 minutes. I'm really hungry, and I would like to kind of reflect on the things that I've talked about, but I will be doing another video at some point, or I intend to, I should say, do another video talking about things like my brand Creative Wealth and some other elements like how my website's going to be designed and all of that. So thank you for letting me talk through these things. Thank you for being part of my life in this journey. I, as always, really hope that you got something out of this, whether a natural curiosity for who I am and what I'm doing with my life, or perhaps feeling inspired, getting some ideas. If you haven't seen the beginning of this video yet, you can go back and watch the part where I talked about all the things that have been bringing me so much joy, and just kind of my daily practices lately, why I feel so much joy today, why I felt so inspired to do this video. And yeah, just I want to say thank you so much. I'm sending you so much love. I care deeply about each of you. I hope to find out who these mysterious people are who watch without commenting. Again, if you want to ever send me an email or a private message, you are welcome to. And I really just want to connect. I want to know who each of you are. I want to know who you are. I'm speaking directly to you, the viewer. I love getting to know people like Yachty, Green Dragon, Kaya, and Musty Fan. It is such a joy to know you and to have you in my life, to receive your feedback, to receive your input, to just hear what you want and how I can support you. That is my goal. I am trying to find every way possible that I can do that, and I'm just very, very grateful for you, truly. I'm going to go eat. I'm probably going to make myself some curry. I got this beautiful yellow curry that I haven't tried it. I'm fingers crossed is going to be good. It's store-bought on the shelf. It's in a glass jar, and it just looks so beautiful. I had to try it. I have some brown jasmine rice that I cooked up the other day, and I'm going to put that on there, maybe with some vegetables. I have some broccoli and carrots, and what else? Was it just broccoli and carrots that I bought? I feel like there was a third vegetable in there somewhere. I'm not sure, but I'm going to go find out, and then maybe do some more. I'm not sure yet. I have a few projects. I'm working on getting my website, my new website, or my evolved website, whitneylauritsen.com, and my media kit together for figuring out how I want to work with brands, and just tapping into the flow to figure out where I'm going with all of this. So thanks again, sending you so much love. If you haven't seen the beginning of this video and you're watching live, please go back. You can comment at any point. You can, as I said, private message me on Instagram or send me an email, private message me on Facebook, wherever. I've been reading every single message lately and doing my best to respond faster. So thanks again. I'm sending you so much love, and I will see you in the next video whenever I'm inspired to make it. I'm not sure if I'm going to stick to a schedule these days, but I do intend to make at least one video a week for you. Lately I've been averaging like 2 or 3, so turn on the notifications if you want to know when I go live next. You can subscribe to the channel, and just keep an eye out. All right, bye everyone.